this video, we're going to take a look at WordPress plugins. Now, plugins are extra code that you can add to your site to add extra features. And fortunately, plugins are packaged very nicely, so it makes it super easy to add and remove plugins. First, let's go to WordPress.org and see what kinds of things are available. This is WordPress.org/plugins, and we're here on the featured page. And you'll note at the top that it says there are 47,624 plugins available. On the featured page, we can see bbPress, which is forum software, and BuddyPress, which can help turn your entire site into something like Facebook. Jetpack is actually a meta plugin. It contains a whole bunch of other plugins. Akismet helps keep spam off your site. ThemeCheck makes sure that your theme is actually up to snuff. And WP Supercache can help make your site go extra fast. But if we click Popular, we can see that there are at least 34 pages of them. Google Analytics by Monster Insights helps integrate Google Analytics with your site. All-in-one SEO is for SEO, just like Yoast. They're competitors, and they do things a little bit differently, but they're both excellent. Google XML Sitemaps. WooCommerce is for e-commerce. Contact Form 7 adds contact forms to your site. The list goes on and on and on. So how do you get these, you ask? Well, actually, what we want to do is go back to our site. And under Plugins, I'm just going to click Installed Plugins. And you'll see that we already have 3. I have one called Akismet, which is to keep spam off the site, but it is not active at the moment. It's just sitting there. Hello Dolly is kind of a toy. It was written by Matt Mullenweg and was one of the very first plugins, and it's sort of a demonstration. And lastly, I have here the WordPress beta tester, which allows me to get beta versions of WordPress if I want them. So now I want to add a new one. I can either click Add New on the left or Add New at the top. They do the same thing. And now I can see a bunch of plugins that are just suggested, featured, popular, and you'll note that these are all the same plugins that were on the other site. That's because they are. There's recommended. And then if you have an account at WordPress.org, you can get your own favorites. I have an account, so I'm going to put in my name and click Get Favorites. And these are my favorites. So to install one, all you have to do is click the Install Now button. The one I want is down the page here a little bit, and it's called Simple Page Ordering. So now I'm going to click Install Now. And it is installed. But it's not working yet. I need to activate it. Fortunately, I can do that right here. And now it is active. You can see it in the list, and you can tell it's active because it's a light blue color, and there's deactivate. Now, what does this plugin do, you might ask? Well, in the video about making pages, I pointed out that you could order them by changing that number in the little box. Well, this plugin allows us to simply grab them and reorder them this way. So by dragging Aquarium under Civics, I made it a child of Civics. If I move it up, it's not anymore. If I move it below Home Safety, then it's still its own parent, but it is below Civics. Now this is only useful if the theme uses that number. But if your theme does use that number, then dragging and dropping these is way better than going into every one of them and changing that number and trying to get them all in the right order. Now when a new version of a plugin comes out, WordPress will tell you. There will be a little indicator up here by the comments bubble. There will be an indicator here next to plugins. And if you click it, you'll be able to click Update right here. There's a bulk actions option. So if you click both of these, you can activate. And now Akismet is active, and it put up this alert. And Hello Dolly is active, and all it does is put lyrics to the songs Hello Dolly right up here. So I don't want either one of them active anymore, so I'm going to deactivate. Something that's important to remember is that not all plugins are equal in quality. Some of them are written quite poorly and can actually slow down your site quite a lot. Some of them haven't been updated in quite a while. Let's take a look at how we can tell some of those things. If I click Add New, we'll just pick this one, just arbitrarily. There's a More Details link. It says, warning, this plugin has not been tested with your current version of WordPress. Now, since I'm running a beta version of WordPress, that doesn't surprise me. But over here on the right, I can see it's compatible with up to 4.4.5. It's probably compatible with the latest version, but you can't be sure. You can see there are 300 plus active installs. You can see who the author is, and when it was last updated. This one was last updated just 2 weeks ago. So we know that George is keeping it up to snuff. We have 6 ratings, and the average rating is 5 stars, so it's probably pretty good. Once you spent a little time in the WordPress community, you'll start recognizing more and more contributors. I recognize almost all of these people, and they're quite excellent developers, so I can tell that this is a good plugin also by the people developing it. If you go to Other Notes, it tells you where you can get together with the developers to help work on this plugin, maybe ask questions, etc. All of the plugins have this More Details link. Here it has features, active installs, compatible up to 4.7. Here are the reviews. And if you click reviews, you can actually see the reviews. So before installing a plugin, make sure you read the More Details. Make sure it does what you want. If you find that you don't want a plugin, you can simply deactivate it and then delete. And it's gone from your site. I also recommend that you delete any plugins that you don't have active. WordPress plugins that are not active can still be accessed from the web, and if there's a security hole, then it can still be abused. So it's common for people to deactivate a plugin but leave it thinking that it's not hurting anything and never look at it again. But years later, it's still sitting there and it might have a security flaw that has been patched, but you haven't updated because it's deactivated. So, to reiterate, if you're not using a plugin, please delete it. You can get it back anytime you want. As you build your site, think carefully about what you need your site to do and look for plugins that do that. Don't just install plugins that are neato or fun, because they can slow your site down. That said, if it's your own personal blog and you're having a wonderful time, go for it.